Hello everyone, my name is Anup Tevatia and this is a session for the Hindu analysis for 13th May 2026. I have decided to hold such sessions every day on my YouTube channel. Plus, I will also post newspaper based daily MCQs on my Telegram channel. So let's just begin. So first of all, the prominent news that is there in the newspaper today is about NEET exam that is conducted by NTA, that stands for National Testing Agency, and there is this news that there was a paper leak and that is why the NTA has decided to cancel the paper. But how is it relevant for UPSC preparation? There is a mention about an act in another page related to NTA and NEET exam only, that is about public examination. Because this act is there, so it becomes our responsibility to understand the Public Examination Act. For that, we just need to remember two or three things. That is, if you can see, the Prevention of Unfair Means Act, it criminalizes paper leaks, cheating syndicates, impersonation, and organized exam fraud. That is what we need to understand. Other than that, this news is of no use for us. So you can just uh, go ahead if you want to read the news. But the only thing that is required to be understood from here is this act only. So let's move forward. Another important news today is about CPI, that is retail inflation. And the news says that the pricey food dining out push retail inflation to a 13-month high of 3.5%. It says that retail inflation has increased to a 13-month high of 3.5% in April 2026. So what does it mean? If I am saying that in April 2026 the retail inflation is 3.5%, it basically means that in April 2025, if the price of a commodity was say rupees 100, so now in April 2026 the price is 103.5 rupees. It is the most basic uh, explanation, most layman explanation that I can give you for this data, like what exactly means from 3.5%. Now also there are predictions that the retail inflation will only increase primarily because of two reasons. First one is the West Asian crisis, where the Iran is involved with the war in US and Israel. The second one is El Nino. El Nino basically means, for your understanding, that whenever there is an El Nino, there will be drought in Indian subcontinent, right? And if there is a drought in Indian subcontinent, agriculture will not be good, right? And that is why the if there is not much crop, the supply of crop is less, then the demand will increase and the prices will increase. That is why there are chances of retail inflation getting higher from 3.5% as well. Now, coming to the most like, how do I relate this current topic to a static topic? Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. The base year earlier, from like before February 2026, it was 2012, but now it is 2024. And the change of base year from 2012 to 2024 was based on the recommendation of Ashok Kumar Committee. The UPSC can ask this question, so you need to remember this. Now, the earlier CPI that was having a base year of 2012 is known as CPI 2012, and the current one is known as CPI 2024. In earlier CPI, There were 299 commodities, out of which 259 were goods and 40 were services. But in current one, 308 are goods and 50 are services. So basically, this means that the base has been broadened. Like earlier, if we were just considering two, three things, now we are considering four, five things. And when we have a broad data about something, it becomes easy to formulate policy. नाउ आई थिंक दिस इज मोर देन अनफ. इससे आगे हमें इस न्यूज़ में पढ़ने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. अगर यही न्यूज़ आगे बहुत बार आती है देन वी विल गो इन टू डिटेल. बट क्योंकि हमारा जो ऑब्जेक्टिव है वो न्यूज़पेपर को जल्दी से जल्दी खत्म करना है, सो आई हैव डिक्लटर्ड एवरी नॉइस एंड वही चीज़ रखी है जो कि एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इंपॉर्टेंट है. नेक्स्ट, this is a news. It is not of that much relevant as of now, but since the Supreme Court will be hearing the matter today, it might evolve into something that we might need to write in our notes. So the issue is that Tamil Nadu recently had elections in which TVK emerged as the single largest party. So there is this MLA from TVK who won the election only by one vote. So the candidate who lost the election, he filed an election petition, and the High Court restrained this MLA from voting in the House. Now, how is it important? The TVK party has to prove majority in the House today, but if their one MLA cannot vote, it will be, their majority will be reduced by one, right? So Supreme Court will hear this and then we will get to know what is the result. But there is one question of law in this. Like if we consider these two person, the MLA and the candidate who lost the exam, lost the election. Don't know why I keep saying exam. So देखा जाए तो this guy तो actually won the exam ना, won the election. So why is he being restrained? Isn't it against his rights and privileges? So that is what the Supreme Court might discuss. But for now, we just need to know कि हाँ there is something like this happening in some part of the India, right? Move on. Then it is important for prelims. I don't think for this prelims, but maybe for next one or maybe for uh, means 2026. So the basic background is that there was a case that was registered in 1989 and the accused was at 22-year-old age. Now the accused is 58. There were other accused as well. If you want to read the news, you can read it. I will post the PDF in my Telegram channel. You can watch it there. And this person only received the court summons last year, right? So the Supreme Court has said that right to speedy trial is necessary. Why? Because the tag of accused, if I say you are accused of something, but there is no judgment, it is just pending trial, there is a loss of dignity, and fundamental right is all about upholding the dignity of individual. That is why right to speedy trial forms the part of fundamental right under Article 21. Now, let's come to the editorial part. This editorial, the Tamil Nadu's political transition growth story fortnight, in my opinion, this is not much of a relevance. Like there is not much to uh, get from here as far as the exam is concerned. So if you want to read, you can just read it. It basically talks how the Dravidian politics in Tamil Nadu has kept Tamil Nadu higher from the national average and what are the potential challenges for Tamil Nadu. And it is more of a state oriented. right? And we are preparing for a union exam. Now, there is this split wide open. If you can see it, so the thing is that the AIADMK, जो कि प्रिंसिपल अपोजिशन पार्टी है काफी प्रीवियस तमिलनाडु असेंबली में, इट माइट बी हेडिंग टुवर्ड्स अ स्प्लिट. अभी तक स्प्लिट नहीं हुआ है बट इट विल. सो देयर कम्स द एंटी डिफेक्शन लॉ इन द पिक्चर. एंड in this stage we only need to know two or three things about anti-defection law. First is that anti-defection law is contained in 10th schedule of constitution. First. Second one is it was enacted using 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1985. And the reason it was enacted was that there was a particular legislator, I guess in Haryana, who switched multiple parties in a single day. And so it became a kind of a court like Aya Ram, Gaya Ram. So to prevent defections, because if I say I run for elections using the INC ticket, and after that I joined the BJP, so there are people who have voted me because I was associated with INC. And if I change my how do I say loyalty from INC to BJP, then I have betrayed the voter. So that is the basic idea. Also, it was enacted so that there is a stability, because when there is no such thing like anti-defection law, people buy MLAs. We all know that MLAs are holed up in some resorts so that no one can do the horse trading, right? So for this anti-defection law, this much is required, nothing more than this. You can read this though, it is a good one. You can read the split wide open editorial in the PDF. Now, the Supreme Court has released one case, one data. It is a platform that will contain all the necessary things related to a case. And then there is this Susahayak, that stands for an AI powered chatbot on the Supreme Court of India website. It will OCOD promises a unified digital trail for a dispute as it moves through various courts, linkages between court records and litigant actions. So this is what the prelims make it can come like कि OCOD नहीं या फिर सुसहायक portal is developed by, and the example can be Niti Aayog, Ministry of Law, Supreme Court, or there can be another say like PMO. So that is why this is important. It is also important as far as means is concerned, because we have to make the judiciary accessible. So we can also quote these in our answers. That is how you prepare for the mains answer. No one prepares for mains answer from the material that is already provided in market. You have to be unique. So you have to choose your own examples. And newspaper reading is when you, how to say, accumulate such examples. Now, let's move. This editorial, How India is Governing Its Water Resources, it basically talks about that although India supports nearly 1/5 of world's population, but it has access to only 4% of global freshwater resources. Despite this, our institutional mechanisms to manage that water are not appropriate or not up to the standard. And this is a good question as far as mains is concerned. Even there is this line in the editorial: India's water crisis is as much institutional as it is hydrological. Discuss. It can directly come into UPSC means. So if you are someone who is actively writing answers based on this editorial, you can try to write this answer and have the copy sent to me. I will check it. So in the water governance, primarily it talks how the system looks at the central. And now the India's worker population ratio has climbed since 2022. So this is a more of a highly static data. You can just watch the chart. One says labor force participation rates by gender and location. So in rural, 58% male, and in female, there is 34.6. Can you see this gap? This gap. Why is so that the rural female is more actively looking for work while the urban one is not? The primary reason is that there is access to education now. So people don't want to settle for less. So they go for higher studies. That is why there is this gap. Also, one more reason ki why this is higher, the rural male migrates to city for earning um, a bit more. So the female has to look after all the agriculture and allied activities. That is why this is higher. So UPSC can ask this. UPSC will not ask the data. UPSC can ask the correlation. Ki this is the statement and this is the reason, right? Same, you can just read it. Nothing to be. If you have any doubts, you can drop a comment and I'll tell you. Now, there is this another article on addressing India's electrical fire risk. It basically talks about three things. First one is AC, यानी कि जो कूलिंग सिस्टम्स हैं, they require around 50 gigawatt of energy. Second, जो भी हमारा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, द इलेक्ट्रिकल वायर, जो भी हमने अपने घरों में चीज़ें, जो भी इलेक्ट्रिकल वायर्स या सिस्टम हमने यूज़ किए हुए हैं, दैट इज़ नॉट डिजाइंड फॉर दिस कूलिंग सिस्टम. एंड द थर्ड वन इज देयर इज नो supervision. Like in Japan, each building is audited for the electrical wires. If there is any leak, not leak, but if there is any fault, it has to be taken care of, and they give you a certificate. Then only your meter is uh, installed. So this is a kind of a too technical editorial. So I wouldn't say that you just memorize it. If you want to overlook it, you can do it. Now, the third one is the toll of structural adjustments on the global south and a case for accountability. So, SAP. First of all, ये क्या होता है? SAP stands for Structural Adjustment Programs. This editorial primarily talks about कि how World Bank and IMF are responsible for rising inequality or poverty in थर्ड वर्ल्ड कंट्रीज, या फिर जो कोलोनियलिज्म से हटके जो नई कंट्रीज बनी थी 1950s के बाद से. एंड द बेसिक रीजन इज बिकॉज देर हैज बीन in 1980s, the third world countries, they were suffering from debt crisis, and the debt crisis was because there was a war in West Asia, and because the fuel prices were increased, many could not pay the debt, and that is why they needed to take some loan for bailout packages, and they went to IMF and World Bank. And that is when World Bank and IMF put conditions, like if you want to avail loan from us, you have to cut public spending, say like if you are giving subsidies to people for food, you have to stop it. If you are giving good healthcare, you have to stop it and let the private sector handle this. And we all know private sector doesn't handle this. So that is how the countries are now in a loop. And this editorial talks about ki the World Bank and IMF must pay reparations, which is highly unlikely, right? So this is all about it. Now, the China's foreign minister will skip BRICS meet in Delhi. This is just a news, but there is always a reason. The reason that is given is because Donald Trump, president of United States, is visiting China. So China's foreign minister has to be there, and in his place, China's ambassador to India will join it. I don't know why I put this here, but because there will be a BRICS meet, and there will be some joint statement or single statement. So we have to keep this for our exam so that there is a loop. Now, the Rahul Gandhi has records dissent on selection of CBI director, calls it biased move. So in this, all we need to know is what is the selection procedure of CBI director. So there is a panel. The panel consists of Prime Minister, Chief Justice of India, and leader of opposition. And so your task is how CVC, the chairman of CVC, is elected, how is CEC appointed, sorry, not elected, appointed. That is your task to find out, and you will let me know in comment section. Now, this is for GS1, that IMD until recently was giving data related to max district level. But now Indian Meteorological Department has gone up to block level. And the reason given is that there are many districts or many variations in the weather where one part of district receives the rainfall, but one experiences drought. And it was done on the request of Ministry of Agriculture so that they can provide real time and accurate data to farmers. As of now, this is not this will not be operationalized in all the blocks, in only half the blocks. Yani ki if there are 7200 old sorry, there are 7200 blocks, so around 3600 blocks will receive this kind of data, weather या monsoon forecast model. Now, there is fresh push for implementation of PM Shri in Bengal, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. Until recently, in Bengal, there was a hostile government to union government, which was not accepting neither the Ayushman Bharat nor these PM Shri like schemes. So the government has again pushed them for implementing the PM Shri. It was enacted in 2022. The aim is it is a 5-year scheme, so it is already 2026, and there has been delay on part of these three states. And the aim is to transform 14,500 schools who will lead the way in implementing National Education Policy 2020. This is basically a type of scheme that upgrades a school's infrastructure, the level of teachers, and overall uh, infrastructure so that the benefit can be given to the student. Now, this is important for prelims. We all know there is a war going on in West Asia, and because of which there is a blockade of Strait of Hormuz. This is why uh, no insurance company is coming forward, and insurance of the shipping industry is highly concentrated in England. So the Indian government has unveiled Bharat Maritime Insurance Pool. It will be a sovereign guarantee of 12,980 crore Indian rupees. This is what we need to remember, and it is unveiled by Department of Financial Services, Ministry of Finance. In prelims, the UPSC can confuse you by saying that the Bharat Maritime Insurance Pool, uh, it is um, released by Ministry of Shipping and Waterways, and we might be inclined, oh, okay, there is a maritime, so maybe this is the ministry. But whenever there is some issue that primarily concerns the money, it is always done by Ministry of Finance. Now there is this page that I have added for you to read. The Russia Ukraine and truce after trading new attacks. uh, there is not much of a news as of now, so you can just read, and there is no need to make any notes out of it. So I will just write, read yourself. Now, there is this cancer immunotherapy may reshape brain's barrier to metastasis. So earlier there is a, how do I say, barrier that keeps the drugs from going into the brain, and that is why it is really hard to treat the brain tumors. Recently, the scientists have realized that there is a kind of immunotherapy that uh, passes the barrier, that passes the barrier, and it makes it easy to treat brain tumors. This is also a kind of a too technical uh, news, and that is why I don't think it is required to be written in notes. If you find it suitable, you can write it, but I don't think it is advisable. So I think this was the first session, and I have tried to make it as quick and as brief. So please tell me your reviews if I should give it more time, give the explanation in more detail, or if this version is good enough. So also I will be posting the MCQs based on the news that we discussed just now. So you can join the Telegram channel. I will post the MCQs. I also post study material like some notes, or also we have a community that is Sankalp community, in which the aspirants try to wake up at 5 a.m. and put a minimum of 8 hours